everyone, it's Safrina from Feng Shui and Prosper. If I am new to you, I am the founder of Feng Shui and Prosper. I'm a classically trained Feng Shui consultant. I've been helping my clients, residential, commercial, and retail clients worldwide, activate the most abundant energy as possible in their home. Today, we are talking about Feng Shui for relationships. So hold on to your hat, you guys, because I will be talking about things that I think most people don't normally talk about in a full, complete picture. And I find that to be not very supportive, or it doesn't really serve people when they're only being given incomplete information. So Feng Shui for relationships is what we're going to be covering here. Now, I know the title says Feng Shui and relationships, but we are not going to be focusing 100% on Feng Shui, because those of you who have followed me for any amount of time, you know I always say start with the Feng Shui, but you go above and beyond Feng Shui for the biggest, best, deepest, more long-lasting results. And you need to do this, especially if you want to attract relationship. Now today, admittedly, my intention was more to talk about romantic relationship, simply because on the 27th of this month will be my 15th year anniversary with my husband. And I'll share a little bit about my how I met him. For those of you who didn't see my story about how I met him that I had on YouTube many years ago. So I was 22. I was in university, having fun. I was here in Canada. I left Malaysia. I started a new chapter in Canada as an international student. And, I was doing the studying, but I was also partying pretty hard. At one point, though, it got really old. I was, just in my early 20s, but I wanted commitment. And so I did the online dating. I met a lot of really nice people. At the peak of it, and I tell people this all the time, at the peak of my dating life, I would have 4 first dates a week. And I ended up, there's a side benefit to this, apart from me wanting to meet my mate. The side benefit is that being a struggling student, most of the men that I had that I dated were working. I've always liked older men. They needed to be at least 5 years or older than me. So most of them were working, and so we would go out for lunch or dinner or whatever, and most of the time they would pay, right? And I would bring home the leftovers. So that's how I fed myself in university. But God darn it, average of 4 first dates in a week, after a while, that got pretty tiring, right? And you're just like, and I would fall for guys that didn't reciprocate, or they would fall for me and I wasn't quite feeling it. And I remember one time we fell really hard with each other, me and this guy. And we started talking, and somehow the topic of religion came up. And I told him my religion. I am Muslim on paper. I have to say I haven't been practicing, because honestly I believe that all religion teaches us to be beautiful human beings, and it's just human beings that wreck the religion, the teachings anyway. And he was Catholic, and I was like, and that came as a shock for him. And I was like, well, I had it on my online profile. I never hid the fact that, that I'm a Muslim. And the next day he was supposed to pick me up for a date, and he just stood at my door, and he didn't come in. And he says, I can't do this. I can't date a Muslim girl. And I remember I was so heartbroken. I was crying on campus the next day with my girlfriends. I was telling them, like, I really felt really hard for this guy. And so I got fed up. I was so fed up with dating. And this is when I started, this is really my first foray into Feng Shui. because growing up in Southeast Asia, Feng Shui was really big, right? Everywhere in Malaysia, like I just grew up with people around me who believed in Feng Shui. And so I was like, okay, let's give this Feng Shui thing a try. Okay, let's see what happens. I was still very skeptical, but I'm like, I was scraping the bottom of the barrel at that point, not with the men that I was dating, but more in terms of emotionally. I was just emotionally drained. I didn't want to just, keep going out with, on random dates. And so I called a friend and she gave me a few tips, and I was only renting a little room in a basement in a house. So all I could Feng Shui was my room. I covered the mirror because it reflected my bed. I changed, I put stuff around, which, to be honest, most of them were fast food Feng Shui, but she gave me a couple of tips that now that I look back, it might actually help me tap into the right bed positioning. Anyway, 2 months later, someone else saw my online profile and emailed me, and we started talking on the phone for 2 weeks. Every night for 2 weeks, we started talking on the phone. And it was weird. Normally, we would say, I would say yes to a date pretty early on because I don't want to waste my time, right? I would be in the mindset of, okay, let's meet up and let's see if there's chemistry. But with this guy, the email came back and forth, and then we started talking on the phone, 2 weeks on the phone. And this would be like phone calls that would last for hours, like, into the mornings. Only after 2 weeks, we decided to meet. And so we met November 24th of 2002. Okay. November 24th of 2002. And it was the best date I've ever had. We were I met up with him at the lobby of his office because the restaurant was close by there. We were the first table there, and we were the last table to leave. We pretty much closed the restaurant, where the people started sweeping and they started putting the chairs up. They had to do that in order to chase us out. So it was an amazing first date. So November 24th of 2002 was our first date. And January 1st, we moved in together. So this was like a month of knowing each other. We moved in together because it felt right. It felt really right. And I remember my best friend at that time and my sister, they were like, wait a minute, you just met this guy. Right? And I don't even want to know what his friends say because I'm 9 years younger than him. Well, I know what they said. They call him a cradle robber. But anyway, so January 1st, we moved in together, and then April, he proposed. And then about 10 months after our first date, we got married. So this year, September 27th, we would be together almost 16 years, but married 15 years. And so there are definitely highs and lows. Every relationship has a high and low. And this is my Feng Shui story. I call him my Feng Shui husband. So this is my Feng Shui story about how I met him. Now, there are a couple of things that I also want to bring into the picture in terms of how and why my husband and I got together. Okay? So, and this is what I wanted to bring into your mind as well, into your awareness. Now, I know most people here, and we're talking about romantic relationships, but you can kind of transfer it to other types of relationships, okay? Business relationships, friendships, family relationship. But people come into our lives for a reason. Even the ones who aggravate us come into our lives for a reason. Everyone in our life is a spiritual teacher. Now, having been married to my husband, and we're still very much in love, it hasn't been easy though. Now, the low points, honestly, and being really transparent here, the low points in our marriage is where we start to really question what is really going on here. And so going back to the foundational information, of heaven luck, earth luck, and mankind luck. Now, the heaven luck you guys already know is the Feng Shui. Okay. And sorry, earth luck is the Feng Shui. And Feng Shui means you activate the relationship energy as best as you can. I will cover that more in Feng Shui 2019. Here's my very first shameless plug here. And many of you guys who are watching are already in Feng Shui 2019. So you guys will get information about this. I'm going to include additional information that's not in here. So in terms of activating for relationship, it is not your southwest it is not only your southwest that is the relationship corner. And in most of your cases, your relationship corner is not even the southwest. Okay? How do you determine what is your relationship corner, where it is? Depends on your period of the house and depends on the facing of your home. And so I will be adding a recorded training on this for everyone who registered in Feng Shui 2019 in terms of what are the strongest relationship directions that you can activate either with Feng Shui placements or just with usage to activate for, in this case, romantic relationship. I will also have a downloadable PDF with crystal grids and using these relationship crystal grids. Now, the crystal grid can be a grid for family relationship. The crystal grid can be for friend relationship. The crystal grid can be a little bit more flexible in terms of what kind of intention you want to, what kind of relationship you intend to attract. But I will then be looking at period 6, 7, 8 homes, looking at all the 24 mountains, all the compass facings, and I'll tell you, I'll drill it down to the most auspicious relationship corners and how you can activate it with a crystal grid, if you can activate it with the crystal grid. Okay? Now, using crystals is not Feng Shui, but I'm taking the fact that there are Feng Shui energies for love based on Feng Shui formulas and Feng Shui calculation, and I'm marrying it with crystal energy to help you activate that. Okay? There's the difference. So those of you who are not yet in Feng Shui 2019, you have not registered and you want to get access to this, it will be included in there. So that is Earth Luck. Don't think that just by buying a pair of Mandarin ducks, you put it in your southwest corner and that's going to do it for you. Unfortunately not. Personally, for me, I feel that I didn't go back to that house and take a compass reading, but I knew it was facing east, and I think it's facing due east. And I was going back to how my bed was shifted. I think the biggest thing was the shifting of the bed. Okay? So that goes a little bit more deeper than what I can cover on a live stream, but I'm just saying a pair of Mandarin ducks didn't do it for me. Okay? I can tell you that much. And so that's the Earth Luck. Everything that's included in the Earth Luck, I will cover more in depth in Feng Shui 2019. What you can know for now is for those of you guys who haven't been following me for a long period of time, hear me on this. You need to let go of the idea that the Southwest is your relationship corner. Let go of panicking that, oh my gosh, my bathroom is in the southwest corner, so my relationship luck is going down the drain. You have to let go of that because your relationship corner could very well be in other places and in more than one direction. Got it? It could be in more than one direction. So that's the Earth Luck. The second one is Heaven Luck. And this is really important because Heaven Luck is a couple of things now. It's your astrology. So I will also have some basic information on how you can plot out the best months of the year to kind of really put yourself out there, where the energy for attracting a romantic relationship is at its peak. because you guys have heard me on this, right? And how do you put yourself out there? Go out to more networking things. Go out to more social events. Okay? Maybe even travel, because some of you guys, you meet your person on a travel, right? Especially if water is your best element. I've had clients who came back with that. So with Heaven Luck, and you can work with a Chinese astrologer, right? However, hear me on this. The astrologer can tell you what the optimal time is to attract a relationship. It could even be the whole year, right? However, if you don't work with your mankind luck, let me pull it up. If you don't work with your mankind luck, then your astrology can have the strongest inclination for a relationship, but if you don't fix your own inner feng shui around relationships, if you don't go out there and meet people, if you don't put up an online profile, if you don't maybe work with a matchmaker, because I have a friend who worked in a matchmaking agency, right, called It's Just Lunch, IJL, and they put men and women together, right? If you don't go out there and seek, actually put yourself out there, your heaven luck, your astrology can have the strongest energy for love and relationships, but you're not meeting it halfway, then it's all voided. Okay? And the other part of mankind luck, okay, the second one, the one in the middle here, the other part of mankind luck is also, and I've seen this before, astrologically, relationship and marriage luck was really strong. I remember in one situation that a client of mine was supposed to get married, but she wasn't. And when I told her that, I was like, this specific year was supposed to be really good for you. And it was like maybe 10, 20 years ago. And she said, yeah, someone actually proposed. I was like, okay. And then she said, but because of my ego, I wanted him to pursue me even more before I said yes to him. And what happened was he gave up. He gave up and he went to someone else. So that's your mankind luck as well. That's also your ego. That's your actions, your decisions that, again, astrologically, you might have the relationship luck in your chart. You also need to take responsibility to meet that halfway. Okay? Because I know many of you, like for instance, the year of the rooster, it was peach blossom luck for a few astrological animals, right? And they're like, oh, I'm gonna meet my one person this year. But then towards the end of the year, it didn't happen. And usually once you peel back the layers to try to figure out why that didn't happen, there's usually either the earth luck blocking it, the mankind luck blocking it, or even the heaven luck blocking it. There is some blockages if you're still not attracting your mate. Okay? Another part of heaven luck, and relationships are big on this in terms of karma, in terms of past lives. Whether you are open to this belief or not, I definitely am. A lot of our intimate relationships, our parents, our siblings, our children, our spouse, a lot of our more intimate relationships, this is not our first go around with them. Most of the time in our past lives, we have had relationships with them. Your father could have been your past lover. Your mom could have been your father. Your children could have been your grandparents. Like things, it's always been because, and again, it's up to what people are willing and open to believe. But usually we go through each reincarnation, each physical manifestation, coming back with a similar group of people because there are spiritual lessons that we need to learn. Now, some of you guys know that I did a past life regression certification almost 2 years ago now. And in one of my regression, I went back and I saw that my husband was had a connection with me in a past life. And that was very interesting because I wasn't prepared for it, but it also opened up so much insight for me in terms of why our marriage is the way it is now, the good and the bad. Okay, like after 15 years, we're still very passionate. We're like, I know it's TMI, but we feel like we're still dating. But at the same time, because now we have the 2 kids, we have the stress of being parents, you know, and then other stuff and stresses of work and stresses of business, we do take it out on each other. And then therefore the past life relationship dynamic that I had with my husband in his other reincarnations in the past also comes to the forefront. So the good and bad came, and so we need to work through it. But now because I have that insight in the past life, there's more compassion, there's more empathy, and there's more motivation for me to fix it now because I don't want it to come back to me next life, right? So whether or not someone has a past life connection with you, again, you can work with a past life regressionist, you can work with an Akashic Record practitioner if you want to get insight on this. But you're not stuck by it. Sure, it has affected you for many, many lives before, but you have this opportunity in this life to address the spiritual lesson, to absorb the spiritual lesson that you're meant to learn. And this is the part of the live stream that I really wanted to put a little bit more emphasis on, more than the Feng Shui. Because the Feng Shui, how long do you stay in a space, right? You can deal with it for however many months or years that you live in the same space. But the heaven life, the karmic relationship, the one at the bottom there, that one can stay with you for lives and lives and lives. Many, many lives. And that's the most important one to deal with. Okay. My relationship with my husband is very closely related to me needing to build my own self-worth. Because in my past life, he was my stepmother. If you guys want to know. In my past life, he was my stepmother. And it was a very strenuous relationship. Right? And so in this life, we're kind of struggling with the same themes in our marriage. Not to say he berates me or anything. But again, well, we talked about chakras before. My throat chakra has always been an issue for me to heal. And I've always never liked arguments. So in a relationship like this, not liking arguments, especially in a marriage, doesn't really empower you as a partner, right? So I really have to learn to heal my throat chakra in order for me to really voice out what I need, what my worth is asking me to claim in this marriage, right? He's an amazing husband, an amazing father, but we have our karmic lessons that keeps us bound to each other unless and until we learn it. Are you guys getting this? Okay. So, and maybe you guys don't want to hear this. A lot of you, not the ones who have followed me for a while. I know people start following me and then they drop off because they're like, oh, Safrina's not going to tell me to put a pair of Mandarin ducks and then tell me that everything's going to be all right. Because that's not the truth. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to lie to you just so you feel good. Attracting relationship, and I feel like the karmic part is the one that is the hardest for people to work through, needs to be addressed, because you can do all the you can do all the Feng Shui placements, right? You can do all the Feng Shui placements. Let's say in your past life or even in your current life, right? Either maybe the family that you were brought up in, or whatever, the society that you're brought up in. You weren't brought up with an environment where you were told that you are lovable, for instance. So you don't trust that you are lovable. If you don't learn that, and that's part of mankind luck, okay? Because of that's the environment that you were born into. However, it is up to you to heal that inner wound, right? Once you realize you are lovable, then whatever Feng Shui placements that you do, then you will start attracting the people who are ready to love you for who you are. Okay, that's just one example. Self-confidence or self-worth is also a big issue in relationship. Either it's a past life or a present life issue. You still need to fix that. You still need to address that head on so that you are then connecting with people who are there to support you in your self-confidence and your self-trust. So whatever kind of relationship it is that you are attracting, we do need to look at it more holistically. So I'm sorry if this is not a live stream where I say, oh, spend $20, $30, buy this little tchotchke, put it in your southwest corner, all good. I'm not here to do that. Okay. So if you feel like you've been butting your head against the wall in terms of attracting your highest and best partner, then you need to ask yourself the really hard questions. Maybe not look at past life, because you do need some guidance in terms of that. Look at even just this life. Look at all the relationships. Are there any patterns coming around? Maybe people love you. Maybe the men are so in love with you, ready to commit even, but something in you is putting up a wall. Right? Why are you putting up the wall? If you start seeing this as a theme in all the past relationships, why are you putting up the wall? Does it have to do, does it have anything to do with your childhood? Look at that. There are many books around there that help in terms of excavating the internal parts, in terms of, attracting your highest and best mate, your highest and best partner. So go look at those, right? If you need a relationship coach, go get a relationship coach. And then you do the Feng Shui placements, that's going to be the one that boosts it up. But you need to do the hard work first, where the relationship is concerned. Okay, let me take a look and see if there are questions. Yes, 15 years. I wanted to travel and do something special, but it's hard with the 2 kids, Okay, no questions. Miriam was asking, you were going through your direct officer pillar. What do you mean by that? Like, are you saying if it's my tenure pillar that had the direct officer? I'm not quite sure what that is. Hey, Mitch. Hello. Okay, so no questions from you guys. Great. So that's basically it. Sorry if you're disappointed you wanted more Feng Shui tips here, but I have to admit this is how I drag you guys into my live streams. Because not everyone wants to look at past life. Not everyone wants to look at the inner junk. But just one thing that I wanted to remind you, if you're not yet in Feng Shui 2019, my second bonus webinar, those of you who missed bonus webinar number 1, the replay is up if you registered. If you didn't register, register now. You'll get access to the first bonus webinar replay right away. You can register at fengshui2019overhere.com, fengshui2019.com. The second bonus webinar is happening September 16th at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And this time we're talking about inner Feng Shui for relationships. So it's tied with today's topic in that I can tell you right now, you can do all the Feng Shui placements that you want, but if you don't work on the internal one, it will still be hard for you to attract the right person. Okay? You can attract them. You'll get more opportunities. You'll start getting more attention. But if you're not working on your internal self, if you don't do your internal healing, then the quality might be a little bit off. Okay? I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm just saying if you want to help it along and make sure that you find the best one as fast as possible, right, then you need to work on yourself. Okay? So Joyce is saying, so you're saying mankind like inner work is more important to begin with than work on Feng Shui? Yes. Yeah. That is what I am saying. You can do the Feng Shui, but don't just leave it at that. The more important work is the mankind luck and the heaven luck. And you guys know that's where I come from anyway. So that's the thing about me, is that I want to make sure that those of you who invest your time, invest your money in any of my products, I want to make sure that you guys get results. I actually get really sad when people don't get results. And which is why when I used to just offer Feng Shui consultations, they would do their placements. They see results, but not to the point that they were hoping it to be. I feel bad. I feel sad. And then I see the way I run my own life. I do my meditation, I do my gratitude work, my journaling, my forgiveness work, my energy healing, all my charity, right? All the stuff. And then I'm like, maybe I should start telling them about all these other tools that have helped my life, right? So, yes. Yeah. Yeah, I know. Sometimes my husband's like, you're burning yourself out for this group. But you know what? It's my mission. It is. Your journey is my journey. I know this sounds cheesy, but those of you guys who are in my annual webinars, those of you guys who are in Manifesting Code, I hope you can feel that this is coming from my heart, that each and every one of you, I am invested in your journey. This is why I do what I do. More than just paying my bills. Of course, it pays my bills beautifully, and I'm very grateful for that. But some of you guys, when I have one-on-one conversations in the background, and those conversations, when they happen, like, this sounds bad, but every conversation, you guys take a little piece of me. Take a little piece of my heart. Take a little piece of my work. But I willingly give it. Okay? And that is how I build my business. That is how I want to build, how I support and serve everyone in here. If you haven't registered for Feng Shui 2019, please start your journey with me there. Okay? fengshui2019.com. Get your Feng Shui set up. And if you feel called to do the inner work, to do the deeper, scarier work, then you join me in manifestingcode.com. Okay? And yes, on September 16th is bonus webinar number 2, only open to those who register for Feng Shui 2019. Again, if you register for Feng Shui 2019, you're going to have some basic astrological information with regards to Feng Shui and relationships. You're going to get information on where are your strongest relationship corners that you can activate in your home. We're going to be covering period 6, period 7, and period 8 homes. And I also have a PDF to guide you in terms of crystal grids for relationship. Again, romantic relationship or non-romantic relationship, you can use the crystal grids, and I'll also tell you where you can put them in your home. Okay? Thank you everyone for your time. You guys are beautiful. I am so honored. You guys have a great day. Take care.